Hamage and Shaw and you on Kivney Horch Bobby Sands, a fur bass stock acres Sanahardam prison, Cash Fada, Truck of Leonohin and Shackton Shaw. Tashi August Ta na Stalk Riella in our Smincha, Ta a clan in our Smincha Fosta in you. We come here today to remember the 35th anniversary of the death of Bobby Sands, who died in the prison hospital in Longcash after enduring 66 days in Hungerstrike on the 5th of May 1981. As we do so, we have Frank Hughes, Patsy O'Hara, Raymond McCartney, Joe MacDonald, Martin Hurston, Kevin Lynch, Kieran Doherty, Thomas McElwee, Mickey Devine, Michael Gahan, Frank Stagg, very much in our thoughts. Unbowed and unbroken, they were political prisoners. We extend our thoughts and solidarity to their families, friends, comrades, and in particular to the family members who have travelled to be with us today. Mila Buikas Steve Golier. On the 1st of March 1976, the British government took a decision which sought to deny Republican prisoners their right to political status. On that day, as much by instinct, Republicans vowed that we would resist all attempts to criminalise our struggle. That was our pledge, and in the 5 years which followed, the single focus of all our actions in the H blocks, in Armagh, in the Crumlin Road, was to face down all those who would pursue or support the policy of criminalisation. By the 3rd of October, the day the hunger strike ended, the policy of criminalisation had been laid bare, and throughout the world, Longcash and Armagh Women's Prison were synonymous with resistance and political imprisonment. Our struggle would not be defeated, nor will we ever allow ourselves or our comrades to be criminalised. 1981 was one of the darkest years in our living experience. We lost 10 courageous comrades on hunger strike, and over 70 people died on our streets. As we look back in remembrance, it is also a time to reflect on the impact the H Block Armagh prison struggle had on our lives and in our history. It was a seminal period in defining and shaping the politics of republicanism. It inspired a new generation of activists and of Republican thinking. The hunger strike for many was their 1916, their 1969, their Bloody Sunday. None of us will ever forget the great joy the day that Bobby was elected MP and Big Doc became a DD, and with him Paddy Agnew. We soon realised the potential and potency of electoral intervention in popularising our struggle. The National H Block Armagh movement highlighted and demonstrated the power of collective participation and collective action, of uniting behind a single message, issue or cause. This legacy still unfolds and has had a lasting and enduring effect on our political evolution. Only last Sunday we saw this demonstrated and reclaimed the spirit of the Rising March in Dublin. Over 50,000 people uniting to honour the memory of the men of 1916. It is often quoted that even the longest journey begins with the first step forward. In 2006, I had the great honour to speak at the Hunger Strike Monument in Havana. On a wall nearby was a billboard carrying the message which sought to inspire Cubans into activism. It read, "Walkers, there is no path. The path is made by walking. Start walking." Many journeys can be both uncertain or a stepping into the unknown. Political struggle is no different. The H Block Armagh protests were no different. So whereas initially there may be faltering steps, with experience and leadership, they soon become stronger and more strident. What was once unthinkable and unreachable becomes reality and possible. So when a young Nelson Mandela set alight his passbook after the Sharpeville massacre in March 1960, or Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus in Montgomery, Alabama in December 1955. They did so filled with the human frailties of fear and apprehension, but were spurred on by those other human qualities of courage and commitment. In September 1976, when Kieran Nugent spoke the words, "I refuse to wear that prison uniform," it was in a room engulfed by intimidation and brutality. Yet he found the strength and the resolve to do what he knew needed to be done. The actions of others, the courage of others, have in the course of history provided the inspiration for people to step forward and to do things that they never believed they were capable of doing. That is evident decade after decade in countless freedom struggles across the world. In this city, in an attempt to break through the wall of silence around the prison protest, 3 women, Mary Nillis, Kathleen McCann and Teresa Deary, dressed only in blankets, stood outside St. Eugene's Cathedral with placards posing the question, "Do you care?" This was courage and leadership combining to do the unthinkable, but doing what needed to be done. Cardinal Thomas O'Fake often referred to acts such as this as an awakening, which led him to the hitch blocks and comparing what he saw there to the sewers of Calcutta. The wall of silence came tumbling down. Then contrast this, 3 women on their own, yet sending out the most powerful message, and the image of the cortege of Bobby Sands making its way from his home in Twinbrook to Milltown Cemetery. A dark mass of over 100,000 people walking with the people's own MP, carving out the path. This was the journey from single isolated steps, the power of the actions of a few, combining and coming together to make it a mass movement and an unstoppable force for change. That is the essence of revolutionary struggle. It is the driving force of the Republican struggle. In his prison diary, Bobby Sands wrote, "What is lost here is lost for the Republic. No truer nor far-sighted words could ever be written or spoken." So on this, the 35th anniversary of the Hungerstrike, and this, the centenary year of 1916, all that we do now is to ensure that we build the Republic of the Proclamation, an Ireland of equals in each and every aspect of our daily lives. This Thursday, the 5th of May, we go to the people to seek a renewed manhood to make this a reality. I am privileged to be standing in this election with Maeve McLaughlin and Martin McGuinness. I can recall Maeve relating how as a young girl in 1981, going into Thornhill wearing a black armband on her school blazer in solidarity with the hunger strikers, resisting all efforts to prevent her from doing so. Now Maeve is among the strongest women leaders in Derry, in the Assembly, and indeed on this island. The death of Desi Beatty and Seamus Cusack at the hands of the British Army had a profound effect on Martin McGuinness. He knew that standing idly by was not the option for him and for many of his generation. Standing up, defending the people and fighting back was necessary. Today he is a giant of republicanism, a leader, a statesman and Deputy First Minister. All 3 of us are conscious of the mantle placed on our shoulders, of the road travelled to bring us where we are, and of the many sacrifices made along the way. But we are proud to be chosen by you as your representatives, and together we will fight this election to strengthen the mandate for change in Derry and in Ireland. Today as we live here, we ask you to play your part this Thursday. Spare no effort, never underestimate, never undervalue your power and your ability to make that change happen. We all know what needs to be done. Now is the time to do it, and it is now down to us. And when we wonder what it was gave Nelson Mandela the courage to burn his passbook, what was in Rosa Parks to stay at the front of the bus, what spurred Mary, Kathleen, Teresa to step forward, what inner force Kieran Nugent possessed to say no, then this is why. For when Bobby Sands wrote, he wrote not for himself, but for history, and to explain why all these deeds were possible. He wrote to ensure that we understood why he, Frank, Raymond, Patsy, Joe, Martin, Kevin, Kieran, Thomas, Mickey, Frank and Michael faced death in the way they did. And he did it when he penned these immortal words. It lights the dark of this prison cell, it thunders forth its might. It is that undoubtable thought, my friend, the thought that says I'm right. So today, as we think back of cherished memories and perhaps ask why, or as we move forward and seek out new challenges and perhaps wonder how, then be encouraged, be inspired by that simple yet powerful thought, I'm right. Let it energize us in the coming days. Let it carry us onwards in our quest for freedom, justice and equality. Agus Mara Dirge Bobby and Shin Chiefy Mitch Iri Nagali. And as Bobby Sand said, it is then we will see the rising of the moon. Go Mila Mai Hunter.